Hour number one in full effect right here for the early on a Monday morning and a spectacular sports weekend it was. It's Donnie Rightside and Davis Maddock hitting all the hot topics, which certainly center stage. You know it. It was the NBA. Let's go back to a preview here of the Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. Davis, let's set the table for this one for this series because I liked the Dallas Mavericks based on what we were listening to last week coming out of the Clippers. You didn't see Kawhi Leonard down the stretch. He's taking injections into his knee just to calm some of the pain and the swelling. And then it was announced that he was not going to be available for game number one. So the Dallas Mavericks now favorite as much as 3.5 points for this game with a total around 222. Final score 109-97. That should have been the Dallas Mavericks with 109, but it wasn't. It was the Clippers because similar to what we saw to James Harden last year in a playoff series against the Boston Celtics without Joel Embiid, he can handle his business. 28 points in that game, which included 6 of 11 from three-point range. Zubac chipped in with 22. Paul George with 22 as well. 22, and Zubac with 20. An impressive performance by the Clippers, but it leaves me saying, come on, Dallas. I want to believe in the Dallas Mavericks, and then we get playoff opportunities to take care of the Pacers where you might be getting breaks on the injury side, and you didn't get that yesterday. The Clippers were the better team over the Mavericks, and that was disappointing for me, Davis.
It's really disappointing. All the new guys in the Dallas Mavericks rotation did not show up. Derek Jones Jr., 0 points. Daniel Gafford, 3 points, 0 rebounds. PJ Washington, 11 points on 10 shots. Tim Hardaway came off the bench and was fine. You toss in Derek Lively as a rookie in a playoff game. He really does nothing. Zubac was phenomenal in this game. 20 points on 17 shots. Didn't even have to get to the line. 15 rebounds for Zubac. So you look at it and you go, yeah, the Mavericks really blew this one here because Kawhi might be available for game 2. He might be available for game 3. The Clippers are probably going to be favored in those games. And a lot of people were very confident in the Mavericks in this series because Luka has pressed the Clippers so hard in the past when they met up in the playoffs. Although what a Clippers fan would tell you would be, sure, everyone remembers Luka really giving the Clippers the business. But in the end, the Clippers have taken care of this Mavericks team every time they face them in the playoffs. When I look at the Mavericks, this is the big thing that really sticks out, which is that Maxi Kleber still is a huge part of their playoff rotation. 27 minutes off the bench, ends up playing more minutes than Gafford and Derek Jones Jr. Look, we've done the Maxi Kleber experiment so many times, and it's just, he's a good player. If he had to play 18 minutes in this series, I think you'd feel pretty good. I actually think one of the lineup adjustments they could make is starting PJ Washington and Derek Lively together, particularly in the games where Kawhi is not playing, so you don't have to have another perimeter defender like Derek Jones Jr. out there. And you just say, we're going to rebound our own misses, and Derek Lively is going to stay there in the paint because you can't even let Zubac gets 17 shots off. The idea that Zubac would be the one who is killing you, that is really embarrassing against a Clippers team that has Paul George and James Harden, right? That Zubac would be the one who's kind of leading the winning effort. So I think that should be a move the Mavericks make. I don't know if they will make it, but I know they're not going to win this series with Kleber playing their most minutes off the bench. And by the way, not making any three-pointers. If you're going to play Kleber, play him at center and have him shooting threes, because having him and PJ Washington out there together, neither of them making their three-pointers, that's just going to be losing basketball.
Hey, Ivica Zubac there, plus 15, which led the way here for the Clippers. But if we are focusing on the Dallas Mavericks, it has a feel to me, Davis, where I talked about last year the Phoenix Suns. You're going with some crazy good upper echelon talent, but the surrounding talent's not helping that out. We thought we might have had that handled for the Mavericks, going, okay, we can get those big nights from Irving. We can get the big nights from Doncic here, but we have surrounding parts that can help us out. The other three starters, if we take away 31 points for Irving and 33 points for Luka Doncic, 14 points combined, as you said. Jones Jr., 18 minutes, no points here. Gafford only played 14 minutes. He had 3 points here. PJ Washington, 37 minutes and only 11 points in that game. It'll be interesting to see who steps up off of the bench and or those B players here for the Dallas Mavericks. But if we focus on the Clippers, look, Tyronn Lue's a great coach here. You take a look at, again, that equal scoring in the lineup, 22, 20, 28, 13, and 6. And then you had Westbrook off the bench, 23 minutes at a +9 and scored 13 points. The Clippers moving forward now, we see them settle in. They can win basketball games, and it certainly feels to me like the Mavericks must take game number 2. And we don't know how long Kawhi Leonard is actually going to be out. in this playoff series and when he's going to come back. So if we look at the updated standings here for this series, round number 1 odds, money line, the Clippers now the favorites here in this series at a minus 142 price. The Dallas Mavericks are now a dog at a plus 116. The spread now flips over to the Clippers here at a minus 1.5 plus 146 price. And if you take Dallas getting a game and a half, that's a minus 180 for the series to be closed out in 4 games, 10-1. 5 games, plus 220, 6 games, plus 170, and 7 games at a plus 195. Let me ask this question now, looking at the Mavericks. Are we panicked over them here, or is it just like, you know what, game number 1 wasn't good. They should be much better in game number 2 for you, Davis?
No, I think you got to press the panic button because what's your answer? I mean, it's not going to get easier when Kawhi Leonard returns to the lineup. Are you going to do Derek Jones Jr. and Maxi Kleber and just kind of try and pace and space your way? Like how much better can Luka? I guess Luka could play better in the first half. You know, if you're going to have an 8-point quarter, you're just not going to win very many playoff games. But also, I mean, Paul George and Terrence Mann are like really good on-ball defenders that are out there to defend Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. And I suppose if Luka has a more efficient offensive game, that some of these concerns are going to be, you know, they're just going to be waved away because Luka Doncic really is that good. But I don't see an obvious solve on defense other than just playing better, right? You know, so you replace some of the Kleber minutes, you're playing double, you know, maybe you play Kleber as the off man with Lively or something, and you don't have Derek Jones Jr. in there at all. If I had to make a bet on these spreads right now, I would be on the Clippers side. I'd probably be on the 6-game series because there's not going to be a series where Doncic doesn't have one completely nuclear game, you know, 55 points, 11 assists, 9 rebounds or something, because he is that good of a player. But the Clippers are undoubtedly, I mean, they are the better team. Doncic might be the best player in the series, but the Clippers are the better team.
Mavericks made 25 free throws to 11 to the Clippers. That's a major advantage, but sometimes you live and die by that three-point line. You take a look at 10 three-point shots made for the Mavericks, 18 three-point shots made for the hometown Clippers, which included 50% from three-point range. Big-time victory for the Clippers here. We'll find out what they do in game number 2. Coming up next, we're going to go over Pacers and Bucks. Game time!